Hey, good afternoon, everybody. morganslv here. Hey, thanks for joining me once again. Let's go over a couple things. First of all, gold and silver. Gold, 1198.35 as of about an hour and a half ago. Silver, 1788. The date today is 8/11/10. I just wanted to go over a couple of things here. One of the things is, you know, I was a supporter of Peter Schiff, and you know, he didn't make it. He didn't make it this go around. He did want to express to everyone that did help him, you know, great job, everybody. I guess he got about 23% of the vote, which isn't bad considering when he started this race. You know, he basically had zero recognition, name recognition in his state of Connecticut. Number one. Number two, it was blatantly obvious that he was blackballed from any type of news media whatsoever. Even Fox, who's supposed to be fair and balanced, I don't remember them ever mentioning his name. The only people they would mention is Linda McMahon and her running mate. And so, you know, Linda McMahon spent more money up to this point for her campaign than any other person trying to win that seat, I believe, in history. And you know, so, you know, Peter Schiff said, you know, it's hard to overcome a $50 million paycheck or you know, checkbook, right? So, you know, he said, you know, he's not hanging his head down low. He's gonna, you know, he may end up going for it again in 2012. He's not sure, and you know, in the future. And so he just put out a deal on his Schiff report today that, you know, great job, everybody, and you know, he's going to move on. He said now the benefit is that his name, he does have recognition now. He got 23% of the vote with basically no help from the media whatsoever, and I think that's pretty strong. You know, basically what it boils down to is people that heard of him, that actually got to get some snippets of his, you know, seeing how he predicted, you know, the booms and busts and everything, you know, they voted for him. So bottom line, let's move on. I'm going to go over the fact that the Fed, you know, is obviously in bed with the government, i.e., if the government wants to print money for a special project like, I don't know, war, this is kind of what happens. Basically today I was listening to Ron Paul. He said, the president can make war whenever he wants, and the Fed obliges with printing money instead of outright taxing us. So let me ask you this. So you're a Joe taxpayer, and you hear all of a sudden, wow, we're going into Iraq because we have weapons of mass destruction, right? Somewhere buried out in the sand. As a patriotic American, you say, well, yeah, I think we ought to go in there. Well, let's click the clock forward. All of a sudden, where are the weapons of mass destruction? Well, we didn't find any, and that's, you know, I don't discount anybody that's in our military. I love them all to death. You know, without them, we wouldn't have our freedoms. But the bottom line is this. I don't want any president of any country to be able to go, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and murder a couple of thousand people or 100,000 people, and in doing so murder some of our own citizens because I want to start a war, or I want more money for my budget, or God knows. I mean, if you could really be a fly on the wall, you know, in the Pentagon and in the White House, who knows what you would find out, right? You might want to take your own life at that point. I don't know. But the bottom line is somebody knows what's going on, right? And the bottom line is when you talk about the president can make war whenever he wants, and the Fed obliges by printing money instead of outright taxing us. Without them being able to just print, we would not be able to be in all these conflicts. We are in 170 countries right now, our military. Are you flipping kidding me? We don't have enough, you know, to power a motorboat across this frickin' San Francisco Bay without borrowing the damn money, and we're in 170 different countries? Give me a flippin' break, right? The war in Iraq was paid for by a credit card. If you look at our money supply going back if you go back, say, anywhere from 50 to 75 years, you'll see when you start tracking our money supply, every time there's a war, it goes blip, blip, then along came 65, blip, and then it just kept going. Because we kept the war machine at a ready status. When we had the Cold War with Russia and whatnot, we didn't, you know, normally when we'd have a war, you'd have a blip, and they'd wind down the war machine, and the money supply would go back to more or less normal. Well, that didn't happen after 1965. It's just one of the things that kind of bugs me about you know, our sitting government, the Fed. You know, one of the things that really scares me is we don't own the Fed, man. We don't. It's not. You know, you can't point at yourself and myself and everyone else you know and love and say, well, the Fed's in it for us. No, they're not. They're owned by foreign entities, right? You know, the Fed's owned by foreign entities, and it's just a real scary deal when, well, wait a minute. If the people who are making decisions about our lives have other countries' interests before ours, then what are we going to expect? What we can expect is ever increasing inflation. Right? We can expect our dollar to tumble. You know, one of the things that I heard, and I'm not quite sure where I heard it, maybe if some of you guys did, maybe you could comment on this particular video, is that given the fact that Obama, you know, there's a large chance that he's not going to be a two-term president, given that fact, what I'm hearing grumblings is he's going to go ahead and try to just go ahead and finish off our currency this term. Okay? So that, you know, let's get back to what I always say. Number one, study a lot. Okay? I'm not going to ride that horse today. Number two, get your precious metals investments in order, or something else that's tangible, right? I don't know if you want to use, I keep getting asked about palladium. I don't know a whole lot about palladium. You know, when I used to play sports, I'll give you an example. I used to be a professional bicycle racer. I know I don't have the body of it now, but I did when I was, you know, 15. You know, I wasn't the best jumper, I couldn't turn the best, but I'll tell you what, I could out-pedal a lot of people. And that's what I concentrated on. I counted on pedaling faster than everyone else, and I won a lot of races, number one. Number two, when I kickboxed, I wasn't the best grappler or whatnot, but I could knock people out, so I kind of concentrated on that. In other words, I find something that I'm good at, and I stick with it. You know, one of the persons that I know used to own a Kirby company, you know, Kirby North America, you know, the vacuums, and you know, he just concentrated on what he did well, and then he just repeated the process. So I think it's pretty cool that if you can be that clear in your mind, hey, I found something I'm good at, and I'm going to concentrate on repeating the process. You know, it's the same way I ran my cab company. That's why we were doing, you know, that's why I had 15, 16 accounts. It didn't matter if I ever had a normal phone call, because I had I knew what my niche was. I concentrated on the niche, and I kept repeating the process. Hey, I'm going to get off the subject for a second. I want to say two things. I want to give a shout out to Lucky43113. He is a guy that, from what I know of his background, you know, hasn't had all that easy of a life. But man, if you listen to this guy talk about precious metals, the economy, you know, he's pretty sharp. And what he does is he has this, you know, live chat on Sunday nights in his chat room there, and I just invite you guys to kind of go on his channel, take a listen to him talking about the Sunday night meeting. I was the guest speaker of last Sunday's meeting, and I'll tell you what. Once again, you know, I've said on here before, a lot of my viewers, I'm sure, are a lot sharper than me, and I met a lot of them in that little chat room. So it's kind of cool. I don't know that I'm going to be there this Sunday. I know that I'm going to dip in and out because it's important to share information. But just kind of, you know, kind of take a look at him. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? It was funny. I was working for a client, and her husband and her, you know, they're kind of wealthy, and she says, well, what else do you do? And I said, well, I have a YouTube channel, and I discuss money, and I know it right now while I'm performing this, you know, this labor for you guys. You know, you probably wouldn't think that. She goes, no, I don't think that at all. I don't judge people by their cover. So please give them a look, and tell me what you think. I'll tell you what, there's some sharp people that were in that chat room. I mean really sharp, who have a lot of good information. So I'll see you next time. Once again, thanks for everybody helping out Peter Schiff. Maybe we'll get him next time if he decides to run. Morgan SLV out.